Hello, my name is Cameron Asgarzadigan and you're watching another episode of Cam's Camera Talk. The Martian is the latest film to be released by director Ridley Scott and it's set in space. Shocker. Particularly in Mars, where Matt Damon just plays an astronaut on his own just trying to survive. Kinda reminds me of Interstellar, you know, where Matt Damon plays an astronaut on his own just trying to survive. But anyway, you're not here to hear about Interstellar, you're here to hear about The Martian. Here it is. So going into this film, from what I'd seen in trailers and read about it, I didn't really actually know all that much about it. And personally, I think that's a good thing. Trailers for this film didn't really show you much of what was going on, it just showed you kind of the basics. But personally, I like it when films do this, because you don't go into the film with any expectations of what you're going to see, so you can truly enjoy the film how it's being presented to you. There are quite a lot of characters in this, but the main one is Matt Damon's character Mark Watney, and it takes a great character to keep you hooked in a film when you're pretty much just on your own. And for most of this film, Matt Damon is on his own. And Matt Damon does this so well, he's fantastic in this film. There's sort of two segments in this, the Mars section and the Earth section of the film. And for the entire Mars section, it's just Matt Damon on his own. So the fact that he can do so well with this part and keep you intrigued, I mean, that's a testament to how good he is as an actor. Matt Damon does churn out quite a lot of good performances, but this is probably one of the best ones I've ever seen from him. The other astronaut crew, they're played by Jessica Chastain, Kate Mara, Axel Hennie, Michael Pena and Sebastian Stan. These characters don't have a massive amount of screen time, but for the parts they are on screen, they do really well with their roles. So the characters which do have a bigger role in this film is the crew back on Earth. So they're played by Jeff Daniels, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Kristen Wiig, Benedict Wong, Mackenzie Davis, Sean Bean and Childish Gambino. I love Childish Gambino. His real name is actually Donald Glover, but I've been a fan of his ever since I started watching Community. But he's a really talented guy. I mean, he's an actor, he's a rapper, he's a stand-up comedian. So I'm glad to finally see him get a break on the big screen, although the part isn't that huge. Jeff Daniels plays the leader of NASA in this, and he's kind of a stone-faced guy who does have good intentions, but he looks at every situation with sort of a business mind. The last film that I saw Jeff Daniels playing was Dumb and Dumber 2, so it was a big surprise to see him transition from that to this, but he is a very talented actor, so it just came naturally for him. Kristen Wiig plays the media correspondent in this film, so she's kind of there to make sure people say and do the right things. This film does have quite a few moments of comic relief, but surprisingly none of them are from Kristen Wiig. So we see an entirely sort of serious acting part from her, which is, I've never really seen that in the past before. But she does do it very well. Sean Bean is the only man who's got a shitter voice than mine, but yet somehow he managed to find his way to Hollywood. But we all love the guy. He sort of plays the voice of the astronauts. He's a very likeable guy, very relatable in this film. Chiwetel Ejiofor is sort of the man in charge of the mission, and he plays a relatively similar character to Jeff Daniels, but he has limits to what he can actually do. But his intentions are good, he just wants to get Mark Watney, the astronaut, home. So because all these characters wanted the same thing but in a different way, it caused conflict. So although the Earth section in this film was quite political and business heavy, it still found a way to be intriguing and enjoyable to the audience. Ridley Scott, the legendary director of Blade Runner, Gladiator and Alien, directs this film. And recently he's not been churning out the classics that he used to. I'm not saying that any of his recent films have been particularly bad, except for The Counselor, that was pretty bad. But they just haven't been as good as what he's shown us he can do in the past. But The Martian is his statement. It shows us that he's still got what it takes to make an exceptional film. I don't want to give too much away about this film, but if I had to explain the plot, I'd say it's about a guy who does a lot of farming on the planet Mars. And after the explanation, I get it. It sounds terrible, but trust me when I say it's really not. This film has so many themes running throughout it. I mean, it's about life. is about survival, it's about friendship. This film is odd in the fact it doesn't have a human antagonist. The situation is the antagonist. The planet Mars is the bad guy. The world in this, the planet Mars, and space in general also look visually gorgeous. The structure for this film is pretty simple. It'll show us what Mark 1 is doing on Mars to survive, and then it'll cut to Earth to show us what they're doing to try and help him. Then it'll cut to Mars, then Earth, then Mars, then Earth, then Mars, then Earth, and so on and so on. And you think that'd get repetitive, but it doesn't. It's just the best way to tell this particular story. Leading up to the climax of this film, it had that great tension which films like Interstellar and Argo have brought us. Well, there's not much fighting going on, there's no real gunfire or anything like that, but what's going on in screen and the way it's being shown to us, it just has us on the edge of our seat, it has us biting our knuckles. This is a truly fantastic film, it's a well told story from a visionary filmmaker, and come Oscar time I wouldn't be surprised to see The Martian mentioned at all, because it has been one of the best films of the year so far. So with all that being said, I am going to give The Martian a 9 out of 10. Anyway, I hope you've liked what I've brought for you today. If you have, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Also, if you've got Twitter, follow me at Cam's Camera Talk. There's a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Great storylines, and say that this was the first season of the show, it hit the ground running. Pun intended.